So I'd be surprised if we don't see like a pretty steep decline here into the close. I think we probably open higher tomorrow. Matter of fact, it's hard to say where we open tomorrow based on what's transpired because I expected more of a down day today. Sorry, guys. This is why I wear earphones all day long. New York City is just too noisy, too many distractions. So part of keeping my peace of mind is to maintain like the sounds that I'm hearing throughout the day. Hey, AV1111. Well, so the success card is about a prominent move higher, and then we establish support out of old resistance. So like we turn resistance into support, and based on what's transpired so far, it's kind of what's happening already. Is this the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, or sorry, the 10th. And there was a big move out of a gap down on the 10th, so that was on point. And what we basically have got here is like this near overbought crest that we formed here. We should have a decline. It'll either start tomorrow or the following day. Let me take a look. Universal there. We got a lot of unicursal energies. So like my sense is that we have a pretty notable low tomorrow. Not tomorrow, on the 13th, I'm sorry. But the 14th, it's like the Empress energy carries over until the 14th on the 1 days. It's still Empress energy. This is one of those readings where it's not exactly clear where the high is. Looks like we have a pretty notable decline off of the high, though. And the high and the low should be within close proximity to each other. We might see the high here around 10 o'clock. So rather than we might have a sharp decline. We might have a sharp decline overnight, but it's kind of hard to determine because the science card is kind of ambiguous. We're looking for a price level that's important on like a year-to-date scale. I think probably what happens is we kind of continue rotating sideways the next couple of days. Like we're kind of at the completion of a multi-day rally here. Well, usually the 21st is like the 20th or the 21st is like right when the eclipse is passing, and those are usually pivot points. Like what you get is like an extra powerful lunar influence. So it might be that we I would say the lowest low, yes, here on the 13th, except for the fact that we have so much unicursal energy over here by the just a few days prior to the eclipse. I'd say it'll be easier to determine if the low is on the 13th, for sure, when we see what happens tomorrow, or what happens on the 13th. But if we don't have a lowest low there, I would probably say that it's on the 17th or 18th, maybe, if it's not on the 13th. I think there's probably a gap down over the weekend. So we need to see, because here tomorrow we've got a bullish day, right? Well, sort of. The prince of this is not always bullish. It looks like it's probably a bearish day tomorrow. Starts out with some solid rotation along key support. Right, and then that takes us into a ace of discs type of day on the 13th. Sorry, let me see here. So the low's I think the low's on the 13th, 14th. That's my sense. Unless we have like a really big gap down on the 17th, which is possible. But my sense is that we're going to see like a peak based on the eclipse, not a low, not a trough. Hey, it was luck. Bitcoin. Where's the good one I like? Well, that's annoying. Alright, well, let's do... Man. Yeah, it's looking pretty bearish the next few days. I would have expected more of a trough here on the 9th, though. But the 11th does show a prominent crest or peak. And then it's kind of bearish. It's pretty bearish the 12th. Sort of bearish the 13th. Looks like there's opportunity in a decline on the 14th. Like, this is all pretty bearish into probably a lowest low here. So I wouldn't overly stress about it. There's a peak or crest here, and then we decline through multiple support levels over the next day or two. Then we have like a resistance level that we fail to break through many times, and then we have another drop there on the 14th. So a move back to the upside on the 15th out of a lowest low on the 14th. And then we drop again, and we should probably see a lowest low on the 18th, 19th as well. I'd be very surprised if we finished higher for the month. That would be very surprising to me. I think it might be the 19th. It might be the 19th. Here we go. Here's that drop at the end of the day. Alright. right? The tower card here. We should have out of a decline from the bottom of the range to the top of the range. A move higher in the post market. Maybe at the close, who knows. But that's that trough we were looking for right there, that low correlation in red. And you notice how it didn't, there's no red correlation for the 3 to 4 o'clock card. There's red correlation for the close card because we're closer to the close than just being at 3 or 4 o'clock. We're like only 17 minutes from the close. See, that's my sense, is that there's a lower price level tomorrow, I think. But I really would have expected us to be bearish today, which really gives me the sense that we end up going bearish pretty strong over the weekend, or excuse me, over the overnight. The science card does have kind of like, it could be either way kind of positioning. But based on the unicursal, we can continue to go up, and then there was the Princess of Wands, which there was a trade there in the morning from the Princess of Wands down to here, probably based on timing. I probably would have closed out here a little late, but still would have been a good trade if I timed the entry right. But with that said, I was expecting more of a decline, so we should have a pretty strong decline here at the end of the day. Kind of like a surprise decline almost. And then like kind of like a little whipsaw around the post market. I don't think it's the 21st. I think the lowest low is kind of like on... My first sense was, you know, when I was doing the reading was here on the 13th, but it was kind of a difficult one to determine. And now with all this unicursal energy here, I'm getting a sense that maybe on the 19th. It depends on how low we are on the 13th, because the 13th offers an opportunity to open up a long position in the midst of a sideways fluctuating decline. And when we look at the daily, 13th is a rally, right? So Ace of Cups could be a bottom on the 12th. Ace of Cups could be a bottom. Well, maybe it even goes into the... There we go. There's the Empress card right there. That's what we're looking for on the 13th. Yeah, I would be in a short position right now. And looking to close the short position around 10 o'clock, or excuse me, around 11 o'clock on the 13th. This would have been a really tricky reading because we've got a high here at the end of the day, about 3 o'clock-ish. And it comes into play roughly about 3:20, followed by a low correlator, so difficult probably to read. On a 1 minute, we're already oversold, but let's take a 5 minute look. We've got a ways to go. We'll probably see a day's low at the close. So AV, to be concise, it's either the 13th and or the 19th is my sense. So the thing about the moon is that it definitely has a strong influence on the stock market. I think a lot of people know that by now. But the timing isn't exact. It's not like the peak will be on the day of. Like, you get the influence, the market's influence kind of like ahead of the moon. Like, so if you have... And also take into account that these rules don't really hold too well when you're looking at a chart during a retrograde period, but when it's normal and it's not a retrograde period, a new moon is like usually comes a few days after a market like local high, and a full moon usually comes a few days after a market local low. Like the influence precedes the actual event, if that makes sense. Regarding Bitcoin, my only worry is maybe. I hate this chart, my god. There we go. Where's the chart? There we go. Yeah, no, that trough there's too early to be what's going on here. Like sometimes you have to give it about 2 weeks wiggle room. So this trough could March could have been more than the end of March on here. It's possible that was the Ace of Cups, which would make that the low. But I find it surprising. I think we definitely, like, looking at the 1 month, we've got decline the next few days. You're a good boy, Hermes. You want to go down? Speaker crest, that's one fast though. So we have this jagged stuff going on, and then it flattens out here. Yeah. So this would be like a closeout of a long position kind of thing. So here on the 9th, one might have opened up a short and a long position. It's possible, based on the reading, one might have done that. And if they did, today would be where you close out of the long position, holding the short position probably until the 19th, I think. That's probably why we don't have a trade opportunity here on the 14th. It's because there's a lower price level here on the 19th. I do have a lowest low correlator here on the 18th, 19th as well. So I think this is probably where the low ends up being 18th, 19th. I see like a solar eclipse. I've seen solar eclipse where like the market just flew and the readings, like it was such a strong upward movement that the downward energies of the readings were like so like nullified, like so counteracted against. I don't know what the word to use here is, but there was so much trend in the opposite direction, like overpowered the downward kind of energies of the cards. Yeah, well, we should see a decline through multiple support levels off of this high. At least 2 support levels, but probably more than that. And since there aren't really any support, like on a year-to-date chart, there aren't like the next support level really is like 28.3. 28.2, 27.9. I think that there's an opportunity there. Like right now is getting out of the long position opportunity. In the short position, like you'd want to exit the short position probably on the 18th, 19th. On the 18th, 19th, we should be at least at 26.888. Like we're revisiting a support level in a period of sideways rotation there on the 18th with a sharp dip that'll stand out on a multi-day chart. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see much as far as big moves higher around the 11th, the 10th and 11th, but what I do see is an overbought crest here around the 10th, 11th, overbought crest or peak and an opportunity to close out of a long position. Overbought crest or peak is followed by a decline through multiple support levels, taking us into a low. Yeah, I would hold for a better opportunity. I'd hold the short position to close out at a better opportunity. And overall, the behavior should be to the downside. Like, let me give you an example here. Right, so today's chart was a bullish day, but the overall theme card was bearish. The whole day was bullish, but look where we are now. We're finishing the day bearish, right? And one could extrapolate that, could predetermine that the likelihood of that to be high, that we would finish the day bearish simply because the theme card is a bearish card. That's how important the theme card is. It gives you like the overall sense of how to read the rest of the cards in the timeline. So this is really where you would see a lowest low, and you can see we have a lowest. We're at the lowest now for the day, just as the reading would have told us. Even though it looked wrong the majority of the day, boom, there we go. So, you know, my point is, go with the overall theme. And for the April reading for Bitcoin, the overall theme, where did it go? It's very bearish. It's very bearish. Especially because we didn't see on the 1 year chart, we didn't see this decline. Like there's this U-shaped dip. That's what this is. There's this U-shaped dip, and then a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us to the highs for March. but we didn't see this decline off of this fast sudden move higher that we should see. We didn't see that yet. Like, we saw a little bit of one. And it's like the April high also, we're set up to think we're going to break out through a price level. Instead, we turn around and we decline through key support. And remember, we're like, this is probably the key support, like around the 27, 28 thou range. Pfizer or IVZ? What's IVZ? Interesting. Oh, Invesco. I'd probably go with Pfizer. It wasn't the most bullish card. It was the Ace of Swords, which is much more auspicious than the Power card, the Four of Discs, which I got for IVZ. Looks like you would make money in Pfizer. I pulled the Princess of Discs as well. I'd go with Pfizer. Alright guys, I'm gonna roll. So, SPY. There we go, boom, end of day decline. Notice how it wasn't a trade opportunity. Like, there was no trade correlator here at the end of the day of any kind. No ruin, no reversed anchor, no relationship, nothing. What time does the CPI come out? So there was no trade opportunity end of day. There's a trade opportunity here, probably because we open lower. And my sense is that this is going to be a bearish day. Like, we kind of had a top off here. There's no cross-reading correlations on the 12th, so it's kind of like an enigmatic day. 8:30, right? So, oh my god, Siri, you're so annoying. I wasn't talking to you. Go away. tough day to determine a high for the day. I'd say that the CPI is definitely important, and likely we open with like there's like a move higher through resistance level around the open, followed by a decline, like a full retracement of that move higher, taking us to a support level where we rotate sideways. There's a sharp dip in that period of right sideways rotation along support there early in the morning, and that sharp dip will take us to a support level that was recently a past opportunity. I would look to get out of a short position here and probably it's a choppy day, a lot of sideways behavior. I think we probably finished lower, but it's hard to determine because the high and the low were within such close proximity to each other, and there's no high correlator either on the timeline, so it makes it a little difficult to determine where the high is. But I would probably close out of a short position here in the morning. And it says the low is an opportunity to open up a long position, but I'm not so sure that that's. I'm not so sure the low is tomorrow. I think the low might be on the 13th. See that 13th? We got that science card. The science card. Interesting. Also appears here on the 19th, where we might see a low again. I think so. To answer your question as far as market reaction to the CPI, I think probably what we have is kind of like a pop and drop that ends bearish. Like it's kind of like mixed reaction, but it eventually ends bearish there in the morning session. But there's a pop and drop around 10 o'clock. It might be something related to Congress, or there might be more on the news having to do with economics here first thing in the morning. It looks like the CPI is pretty damn important though, like based on these cards here.
Alright guys, with that said, I'm going to roll. Thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You do so here on our resources tab. 5% profits back to the channel, 5% profit forward to one of these charities. We've also got May readings on sale. I know our March readings didn't, like, we had quite a few that we nailed, but there was more than a few that I didn't like the quality of. So I think we're probably hurting in sales this month a little bit based on that. Hopefully people are just waiting along, but it's been kind of quiet. Channel needs some support, my friends. So feel free as always to take a look at what we've got for sale on the website for support, and then there's also 5% rule of karma as well. But channel does need some support, my friends. Thank you for all of those of you out there that do support, and